Yeah, I'm just a weird person by nature. You're gonna have to get used to that if you're new to this channel. Sorry.
You're now watching the Mystical Green Beanie.
Hey, what's going on, dudes and dudettes? I am the Mystical Green Beanie, and instead of doing like a regular hitting the books episode, I wanted to try something different. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you some of the books that I picked up last week at AwesomeCon instead of doing like an actual review. So yeah, let's get started. And the first book that I'm showing you today is Batman Black Mirror by Scott Snyder and Jock. So for those of you who don't know, I'm not the biggest Scott Snyder Batman fan. A lot of his New 52 stuff just doesn't hit me like it does a lot of other people. It feels very Grant Morrison light, if that's, you know, a nice way of, oh, there's crap on here. If that's a nice way of putting it. But I love this. I love this. This is definitely one of my favorite Batman stories ever told. This is probably the best Dick Grayson Batman story ever told, and that's high marks because I love Grant Morrison's run on, you know, Bat Dick, and I think this kind of tops all of Grant Morrison's Bat Dick stories. So yeah, this is great. I love the art in this book. I love Jock. Jock is one of my favorite artists. He is an acquired taste, but I feel like he's really good, especially here. Now, Jock's art isn't as great here as it is in, say, Green Arrow Year One. I feel like that is Jock's magnum opus, but this is still really good, and this is just a beauty, and I'm so glad that I got Scott Snyder to actually sign it. Can you see? Yep, he signed it. So, yeah, I'm super happy about that, and yeah, man, this is great. And up next is this bad boy. So I've been trying to find this issue for a long time. I haven't exactly been keeping up with the Batman 66 comics and that whole like ongoing continuity. And it's not because I don't like it, it's just, you know, comics are expensive and sometimes you gotta put things on the chopping block every once in a while. That said, this is probably one of my favorite stories to come out of the Batman 66 universe so far, in comic form at least. And this is just great. It's, funny enough, everything that the Batman Forever movie should have been, and I like that movie, but this does all the things that Batman Forever does with Two-Face, but better. So, yeah. But now moving on to something that I really loved, Boom. So, I love Superman, for those of you who don't know. Like, Superman is one of my favorite comic book characters in all of comics, and I was so happy to get my hands on these guys. Alright, so first off we have Superman issue 200, which isn't really the 200th issue of Superman, but like, the 200th issue in the post-crisis continuity. Anyways, so in this issue, Superman is like going through time and space, and a version of Superman from the far future where he's a cyborg shows up and is like, hey, come on this mystical journey with me. Which, if I was Superman, I'd be like, no. But yeah, this issue is really cool, and if you're a Superman fan, you should definitely pick this up if you don't have it already. Next up we have Action Comics issue 800. This is a special anniversary issue, and this is just great. It's an anthology series where we have people kind of recounting their experiences with Superman in fiction. Well, Superman is also a real character in this universe, I think. I'm not really sure, but it's very beautiful and I liked reading it. Plus, it's by Joe Kelly. And for those of you who don't know, or maybe none of you know, because I don't think I've said this on camera yet, Joe Kelly is one of, if not my favorite Superman writers of all time. So, yeah, I'm just glad to have this in my collection now. And then we have Action Comics issue 850. Now this is a really cool, milestone issue. So Superman's not even the main character in this one. It's Supergirl and Legion of Superheroes just kind of using this weird machine from the 31st century to look at the history of Superman. And it's funny because I don't like pre-New 52 Supergirl. I think she's very whiny, I think she's very bitchy, and I just don't like her as a character. But I really liked her here. And I really like the arc that she has in this story, and how she sees Clark behind closed doors, and how he thinks of Kara when she's not around. So this is great, and I'm really glad I picked this up. This is written by Kurt Busiek and Jeff Johns, and just a whole bunch of other people that I really like, and this is just great. So I'm really glad to have this there too. And finally, rounding out that bunch is Action Comics issue 840. This is the finale of the Up, Up, and Away story arc, which took place during the 1 year later, thing that DC was doing after Infinite Crisis. And this is really special to me because this is actually the first Superman comic that I ever picked up. Ever. And it's funny because back then I hated Superman. I had a grown man's hatred of Superman when I was 10 years old. And, I just hated him for all the reasons that people hate Superman. I thought he was too much of a Boy Scout. I thought he was too perfect. I thought he was too pristine. I didn't like him. So, flash forward 10 years later and he's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. So, funny how life works out that way. But that is not all the Superman comics that I picked up at AwesomeCon, because I got these. Okay, so in recent months, I've actually become a bit of a Bronze Age Superman collector. I don't know what it is about the Bronze Age comics. I just really like 1970s and early 80s Superman for some reason. I just do. But yeah, here we have a 4-issue arc in which this guy from the solar system that Krypton was a part of just has to leave his solar system because the people from his planet are causing him major allergies. Hashtag relatable. And he goes to Earth, and shit gets fucked up. It's a great story. It's really cool. It's very, very, very Bronze Age in the sense that it's very goofy. But it's really cool, and if you can ever find it, I definitely recommend picking it up. It is Action Comics issues 460 to 463, and this is just a great story. And the last Superman comic that I got from AwesomeCon is this guy right here. So this is written by Jerry Conway, and I have a very weird relationship with Jerry Conway's interpretation of Superman. He has a very, black and white, Superman does this, and that, and that, and he doesn't do this, or that, or that. And I don't know, I never really agreed with his philosophy for Superman, but I think this is really cool. This is a really fun story in which Superman is just kind of manipulated into not being himself. There's a lot of really cool real-world issues going on in this story, or, real world in the setting of a universe where Metropolis and Gotham exists. So, it's about as real-world as you can get in this universe. But yeah, it's really cool, and you should definitely pick this up. This is the first part in a multi-part series, so you might want to get 467 and onwards to get the complete story. Okay, so you guys know me. You know that I am a huge Flash fan. Flash is one of my favorite characters of all time. He is definitely one of my top 3 favorite DC characters of all time. And I was so happy to get this. So this is called Ignition, and it is a story arc that takes place after Blitz. And in Blitz, the Reverse Flash, who at the time was Hunter Zolomon, causes Wally West's wife, Linda Park, to have a miscarriage. And Wally's whole deal is that he feels like none of this would have happened if he didn't reveal his secret identity to the world in the first place. So what he does is he has the Spectre, who at the time was Hal Jordan, because continuity, basically erase everyone's mind of who the Flash is, except the only problem is Wally has his mind erased as well, and through this story arc he has to kind of remember who he is and figure out what the Flash legacy means in relation to him. And this is great. I mean, the art still kind of weirds me out. I'm not a huge fan of the art in relation to this specific story or this character. I feel like it works better for, like, Batman or someone like that, but it doesn't really fit for the Flash. But yeah, you know, I really like the story, and it's written by Jeff Johns. It is in that whole Jeff Johns Flash run, which I think is amazing. It's my favorite run of the Flash ever. But yeah, this is great, and I am so glad that I own this, even though I already owned it in trade, because collecting comics means that you like to get doubles of things, because that is how life works. And then we have these guys. Okay, so I am a massive Ultimate Spider-Man fan. I don't care what anyone has to say about Brian Bendis today, but Brian Bendis back in like 2001, 2002, 2003, like all the way up to like 2008 was on it. Dude was fucking like hitting shit out of the park because he was just that phenomenal. And these prove that. Okay, so issue number 9 is the introduction of the Kingpin and the Enforcers in the Ultimate Universe. This is a really cool story, and I just like this a lot. And the main reason that I love it is that it shows that Peter is just a kid trying to do his best in a world that isn't made for kids. Like, he's a 15-year-old kid trying to take on the mob. And this book kind of highlights how preposterous that is, and it's amazing, and it's written very well. Again, Brian Bendis at his peak. This is phenomenal. And Mark Bagley's art is just... And then we have Ultimate Spider-Man issue 65. So this is the detention issue, and it takes place after Gwen Stacy's death in the Ultimate Universe. And what I love about this is that it feels very much like The Breakfast Club, except the ending is less happy. So Peter Parker and Mary Jane are still kind of reeling after the death of Gwen Stacy, and Flash Thompson is a major dick, and he makes fun of Gwen dying, and then Mary Jane just flips, and she causes this big fight to break out, and then everyone who's involved gets in detention. And this is just great. This is probably one of, if not my favorite issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, and yeah, man, this is just great. Wow, I love Ultimate Spider-Man so much. This is perfect. This is life. I love this. Now, I actually got some indie books while I was there, and chief among them is The First Law of Mad Science. Now, this is a really cool series, which I actually had the first trade signed by the creators. So, that's awesome. I even took a picture with them, so you can see that right here. But yeah, this is a really cool book. It's really weird. So basically, in the future, people get these cybernetic implants in their eyes, and they start seeing weird shit that's not there. Or is it there? It's really there. But this series is really awesome. My favorite character so far is definitely Rachel, who is the, like, robot daughter of this, like, family. It's really cool. You should definitely pick it up if you can find it. And yeah, this is just great. I also picked up Manga Man. So this is a book by Barry Lyga and Colleen Dorian, and I actually met Colleen Dorian there, and she signed it for me. So yeah, that's awesome. I got my book signed by Colleen Dorian. This is just great. You should definitely pick this up if you are a manga fan, because it really highlights the differences between Western style of comics and Eastern style of comics. And even play with the formats and how different it is, but also how similar it is. And it's really cool, and you should definitely just pick this up. It is a must-have if you are a fan of just the medium in general. And yeah, this is great, and I'm glad that I have this in my collection now. And last but not least, you probably saw this picture on Twitter already, but Vision. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, Tom King's Vision is probably one of the best things that I've ever read. I already have a review for the first volume on my channel. You can find it, and this series is great. And I'm really glad that I got it signed by Tom King. So, you know, here in the second volume it says, "Be kind," and in the first volume it says, "Be nice." And if you have read the series, you know what that means. So, yeah, I just think it's great. I'm glad that I have these signed. This just means a lot to me. So, yeah, cool. But yeah, guys, those were my AwesomeCon pulls. AwesomeCon was actually my first con ever. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun, and it was great. And I met a lot of really cool people there. And I just can't wait until I go to my next con. So, yeah, cool. Anyways, thank you for watching, and until next time, adios, nachos. Adios.
Charged up.